Today we're making Austrian Gulasch, and this dish clocks in at 453 calories per portion, 46 grams of proteins, 34 grams of carbs, and 15 grams of fat. I don't really know how traditional this is. It's based on something I used to get from a can when I was young, but I really like it and I still do. So anyway, this is the closest I got to my favorite canned goulash. And what we're going to use is 1 kilogram of chuck that we're going to cut up to fairly small chunks. And if there's any membrane or anything, we're going to cut that off. And then we're just going to cut them into small chunks. And then we're going to salt all of those pieces. So I like to spread them out on a cutting board, and I'm just going to salt everything. And then we're going to brown everything as well. So we're gonna get a large pot and we're gonna preheat that. As always, I'm using some of that low-calorie cooking spray. And then we're gonna proceed to brown all of our meat, and we don't want to use too much. So in order not to lower the temperature of our cooking vessel too much. And while that's going, we're gonna cut 2 onions. And this is gonna be cooking for roughly 3 hours. So you don't need to finely chop the onions or anything. That's gonna break down during that time, but chop it fairly well. We are also going to go for 2 carrots. That's roughly 55 grams. And same thing here, we're just gonna cut those up in little chunks. And as I said, I haven't had goulash in Austria since I was like 10 or something, so I don't know how much this is to the traditional way, but it's close to the canned version that I liked when I was young, and I still do. So we're gonna take 2 pieces of paprika, and this is the way I like to cut them. It's fairly easy and basically leaves you with zero waste. So same thing here, small chunks, just cut those up. And basically this is just a lot of cutting, and once you're done with all your cutting, it's just gonna sit on the stove for roughly 3 hours until it's like 20 minutes left, and then we're gonna add our potatoes. So as you can see, we have a lot of burnt stuff in the bottom of our pot. That's not a problem at all. To fix that, we're gonna add our onions and our carrots, and then we're gonna hit that with a lot of salt to release some of that liquid, and we're gonna use that to deglaze the pan. And all of that burnt stuff will just release, and that will add a lot of flavor to our dish. So that's not a problem at all. And as you can see, once the liquid from our onions and carrots releases, everything just magically releases from the pan and just leaves you with a lot of nice flavors that we want in our dish. For our seasoning, we're going to use half a teaspoon of dried thyme, and then we're going to add half a teaspoon of cumin, 1 tablespoon of paprika powder, and then we're going to add 2 teaspoons of caraway seeds. And also I should add some fresh garlic here, but I didn't have any, so I used dried garlic instead. But if you have any garlic, you should use 2 to 3 cloves of garlic, and then just fry that for a little while. And after that, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of tomato puree, and we're going to fry that for a little while. And then we're going to add some water to this, and we're adding 1 liter of water, or 1,000 grams, and then just stir everything together. And then we're going to go in with our paprika, our meat, and then also we're adding some salt, we're adding some pepper. We're adding 2 bouillon cubes, and then finally we're going to add 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce and also 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. And then we're going to add 1 can, that's 390 grams of crushed tomatoes, and finally our paprika. Then we're just gonna stir that together and put a lid on and let that simmer for 2.5 hours. I feel chuck usually needs to boil for 2.5 to 3 hours to become nice and tender. And that means that when you're roughly at 2.5 hours, you're going to add 600 grams of potatoes. And we're going to cut those up in little chunks and then just add those. However, we should remember that our potatoes are going to soak up a lot of salt, so we need to add a lot of salt to fix that. And there's really no need to boil it this roughly. It's just I didn't keep any close attention. So in with our potatoes, and then we're just gonna boil our potatoes until they're soft. And then to thicken this up, we're going to add 15 grams of cornstarch, just a little water. That's just to create a little bit more thickness to our soup. And once that's it, we're just gonna check for seasoning. And if you want, you can add some chili pepper. I fed this to my kids as well, so I didn't, but if you like this a bit stronger, then you should add some chili. And for me, this makes 5 portions. And that means 1 portion, 46 grams of proteins, that's 450 calories. That's quite nice. So, I hope you try this, and if you do, I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching.